Okay, Judge Carr was way too conservative. He was the only judicial officer in the federal system in my 25 years who raised pretrial justice issues consistently throughout his term on the bench, and the federal pretrial system was much improved by his service because he kept raising those pretrial justice issues. Punishment before conviction, was Stack v. Boyle. I guess I'm supposed to, there we go. Which one? There we go. There we go. Okay. We're going to lose our presumption of innocence unless we protect. Salerno said that there's a small number of people that are allowed to be detained. Should be very limited exception. The federal system, the number is about 70, 7 out of 10. Okay, so that's not limited. It's a huge impact, okay? And detention, is very, as Marie talked about, and we're going to talk about a little, the impacts go on throughout the life of the case. BJS, Tom Cohen, the numbers go up 1995 to 2010. The major offenses, immigration, drugs, and weapons. The rate's consistently higher, and the defendants are getting, more serious. They have higher records. They have, less positive items. So it's not just cases. The defendants themselves are riskier. We've got 60 years of research, beginning with Caleb Foote, and I'm happy to, provide anybody with each of those sites, and you can read them yourselves. I'm not going to read them, but there is strong evidence of the impact of detention in the federal system. These most recent studies, we looked at, a number of researchers looked at two things: the federal system as a whole and two districts in particular, Pennsylvania and New Jersey, Pennsylvania Eastern and New Jersey. The link between pretrial release and sentencing, when we looked at the whole country, being detained resulted in a 25% increase in the likelihood of going to prison. When we looked at just New Jersey, it's a 40% increase. New Jersey and Pennsylvania Eastern, 40%. So that's whether or not you go, and if you go, the length, okay? It's a huge impact. So being detained, more likely to go to prison, and to go to prison for longer. And the new piece in this research is that being released and being successful decreases prison. Being released and being unsuccessful is still better than being detained. So there's a huge impact and there's a huge benefit for any defendant who gets released. Reentry, okay, starts with pre-entry. This is the crux of what I view. We're spending so much time and effort on on the population, but this pretrial phase is so crucial. Okay, we've got research, again, I can provide it, that shows, length of term, prison or not, success on post-conviction supervision, okay, all predicted by whether or not the person was detained. Marie did an early study, and it establishes, and really that I can find the first time, the risk principle applying in pretrial services. Okay, so lower risk cases, if we do stuff to them, put conditions on them, they fail at a higher rate. The higher risk folks, though, when we place those conditions on them, they do better. So we know what to do, we just need to do it to the right people. I would argue that there's a span, there's a stovepipe in the federal system. We've got the courts and we've got the Department of Justice. And the money is separate, the authority is separate, everything is separate. And that the detention problem will continue until we find a way to manage those two resources together. $1.6 billion on detention, the actual locking up and transportation, 180 some odd on pretrial services function. So all the good things come out of that little piece of blue, and all the bad things come out of the red. It's just the simplest way to me to represent the argument, that if we're really about reentry, if we're really about pretrial justice, we need to address this pie. We need to spend more money on the things that we have evidence that shows they work. Defendants, offenders do better when, and we need to spend less money on locking people up pretrial. It violates, our own rules, our own laws, our own sense of justice. These people have not been convicted. Some of them never are. It's a problem that's been around. I was just looking through the Washington Times article from 1990 saying, oh my gosh, the federal system's gonna die over too much detention. It's a 25-year problem. It's not going away, but to me, it's really this simple. Until we address the money we spend and how we spend it, we get the sides to work together. It's a problem we'll continue to have. Thanks.